Hey BoLS readers, today we're going to be doing our review of the War Room app on an iPad and an iPhone, and hopefully we'll add some Android functionality as well at some point, but today we're going to review on what we have and what we use. So we've got it here loaded on an iPad and an iPhone, and we'll show you the positives and the negatives of this app that hopefully is a showcase of what the future of these companies are going to do. So to lay the groundwork, we're not really going to talk about the technical difficulties that this app had at the beginning. I know Privateers put a lot of work into making those technical difficulties go away, and I know in the future that they will do what is required to make sure that the app works as needed. So we're going to review the app itself on its features and not necessarily on the difficulties at launch that they had. So let's launch right into it. We'll go ahead and start the app. It's got this cool screen here with a Behemoth and Typhus fighting each other, or Typhon, sorry. And we'll go right in. So we're going to look at overall. It feels very clean. It does feel polished. It's very nice. Obviously they put a lot of thought into the aesthetic of the app. I mean, it does feel good when you're using it. So we're going to go in first to the card library. So the first thing here, you get a selection of all the different factions that you can choose from. Now, I only own one deck, and this is where we first run into our first problem. I own the Trollblood deck. There's no indication here that going to the Trolls will be the one that I own. I say click on this other one here. It says go to this one. It gives us access, but then you try to click on something and it says, would you like to buy this? So we say no, and we'll go back to the main. And we have to go back to card library again. And we'll choose our Trolls. So no indication of what you actually own. So that could be improved. Maybe they highlight the box or something similar to that. So now we're in here. I've got a list of all the different options, and they kind of do this pull down system where you can look at all the different units, and it's pretty neat. It's not a bad way to do it. I may have set it up differently, but you still can go through and look at everything. So we'll go ahead and look at like a caster's card here. We'll pull up my favorite guy, Borka. And it's pretty neat. I mean, Borka's card is very clean. They definitely took advantage of the high resolution they spent time working on, and just a simple swipe back and forth goes between the two cards. One positive thing here that you can do is say you want to click on Trauma. Oh, come on, Trauma, work with me here. There we go. If you click it right, you get all the associated rules that go with Trauma: an Animi, initial attack, normal attack, upkeep spells, and you can click on those to tell you what a normal attack is. That's pretty cool. I mean, you click on any rule or any spell, and it'll list all the rules that it references. You know, we clicked on Moshpit here. It has initial attack, knockdown, melee, melee range, normal attack, and then power plus strength. So, you know, it can be a bit overwhelming because some rules or some abilities and rules will activate or use like 20 different rules, but it's still cool that you can see what might be related to that rule. And these tiny X's sometimes don't want to close. So, you know, overall the X's could be a little bit bigger, but that's a nitpick. A lot of these are going to sound like first world problems, but, you know, if you're going to be a couple months late on something, I wanted it to be perfect. So we'll go ahead and look at like a unit here, or a war beast. We'll pick a bomber. And again, it's very clean. It's just like a nice high-res PDF version of the card, which is probably what they used. And since there's not a second card here, you can just look at everything. Everything you want is there. All the damage grid. It's just a copy of the card. So it's exactly what you want, exactly what you paid for to get on here. So overall, their cards are good. I mean, it's a good way to peruse through to see everything you have. I mean, it's just like having the book of the cards out in front of you, which is what you want from this part of it when you're just perusing. Next, we'll go to the other part, the part that I most look forward to, which was the army creation. So I've gone ahead and made a 50-point Borka list here. And we're going to show you some positives and negatives that they have when creating the list. So you can create a new army, or you can pick the one you already have, and you can erase it. So first, we're going to open up our list. Right. Now, this is a good showcase here. This is the newest iPad, the iPad 3. This app is slow. It takes time to load things, and it had a very large size. I think somebody said like 350 meg or something like that. We could look it up. But it's very large. They did not seem to take into account that they needed to maybe reduce the size of this or do any kind of optimization. So it's quite large. So we're looking at our army here. And again, it's in this kind of format. The same thing where you pull it and it gives you all the options. And it'll say green if you've taken it, and it'll just look normal. So you can tap on this and it'll give you the card just like before. And you just hit this little plus symbol to add it to your army. You know, if you want to add, even though I've already created it, you can add this second caster, which brings us to a problem. So this is a 50-point list with one caster selected, and it let me add a second caster. And the only indication I have that I did something wrong is that tiny little 2 says that it's illegal. So I'm not a big fan of that. I think it should either bring up a warning to say, hey, this is wrong, or it says, or it should just highlight it in red like it does in other places. But instead, all it does is just give you this tiny little thing. So when the problem is now, like say we'll pull up a unit. So we've got all our units here, and trolls, trolls and hordes in general have less units overall than their Warmachine compatriots, just because they've been out less time. So, but even this, I'm scrolling through, and I'm looking at this one, and I'm looking at it. It's great. I'm hitting back, and I'm like, oh man, I wanna look at Warcasters. I've been hitting back this whole time. Maybe I should hit back again. Oh no, wait, what am I doing? I'm leaving this army? Oh man, okay, I definitely don't want to do that. Oh wait, so I didn't save changes, now I'm out of the army. So half the time you're hitting back to transfer between screens, and half the time you're closing and opening the arrows to give you the windows there. So it's not a particularly consistent, clean interface of how they're going to let you choose things. But overall it's good. I like the fact that you can do this. I like the fact that it's pretty easy to add and remove, and everything's there for you. Again, back to what we're talking about with the Warmachine, or with the Warcaster, I want to show you this. So this list is deliberately 2 points down. I did not add Finblade Officer and Drummer just to show you this. So I'm going to say, okay, I need my Finblade Officer and Drummer, because I don't know why you wouldn't take them. And it says, hey, who do you want to attach these to? It gives me the options of Borka, a Creel Stone Bearer and Stone Scribes, the Finblades, and the Creel Warriors. Now, clearly I can only attach it to the Finblades, but it gives me the option. So if I want to attach it to the Creel Warriors, it says great, awesome, they're attached to the Creel Warriors. It doesn't give you an error that you did anything wrong. It doesn't give you an error that's later on it's going to be bad. It's just there. So again, if you're a veteran Warmachine player, or if you're familiar with the rules and you're not new, this you'll catch that and be like, oh, I clearly can't do that. It's got the wrong name. But if you're a new player or unfamiliar with your opponent's rules, you'll be like, why are those guys attached to that thing? So that's kind of odd. It's odd that you can just add things willy-nilly and it doesn't check. It seems to have a check internally in the software to say things can be attached to, certain units can be attached to, but it doesn't seem to have another check to say this can be attached to these things. So they didn't seem to make the connections to it. So again, that would be pretty cool if they could do that. Another one here, say I've got my Creel Warriors, and my Creel Warriors are big unit. They've got 3 caber throwers and the Standard and Piper. Say I want to reduce the number, or I want to get rid of something. Say I just hit delete on here and I want to just delete a couple of them. It deletes everything. You can't, there's no gradient of removal. You can't just say, I wanted a 6-man unit versus a 10-man unit. Or if there is a way to do that, it wasn't readily apparent when I was doing it. You still got your theme list listed up here, so that's pretty neat. I mean, they list all the things in the themes and everything like that. So it's all here. I mean, they packed a ton of information into here. You can name the list, and it gives you a few things here and there. But overall, I mean, it feels like an incomplete section. Like they filmed it. I mean, they put all the relevant information in there, but they relied on you to know what's legal and illegal. And, that's okay, but I'm paying money for this. And, you had several extra months to fix it, so I'd expect a little better on here. But this is what I wanted. I want to be able to build lists while I'm on a car ride. I want to build lists while I'm sitting around at the game store waiting for something. I want to read all the cards. So, they accomplished that goal, and that's nice. I really do appreciate it. With a little bit of work, this army building section could be really nice. So we will not save changes to this army. And then, when we come back, we'll go into the battle section. Alright, so I'm just filming this at home, but we're going to start off here with just a mock battle. You can do solo, you can host it, you can join it. And so we're going to do a solo game, and we're going to use our Borka list. So that's cool. Alright, so we got our Borka list. We've started the game. It looks great. Okay, but we're not actually playing yet. I can click on it, it'll bring up all the rules, but I can't do damage yet. Okay, so you got to play. That's fine. It's just, I guess, if you want to get ready. So I've started the game now. All my stuff's live, everything's great. So we click on any of the units here, and it's awesome. We got all our relevant stats up top. We got all the various rules. It lists his spells right there that are easy. It lists his stats. You go to like Mulg, it lists all his stuff, plus his Animus. But that's kind of where it drops off. I mean, some of these things could be, that looks really great, but then you start going into like, okay, let's see, what are Finblade's special rules again? Oh, it doesn't list them. We got all this empty space at the bottom, but it just listed they have hooked great swords. So, okay, so they only list animus and spells. Alright, alright. So how do we get to it? Now, do I just click the unit? No. Do I double click the unit? No. Triple? Hold? No. They didn't seem to take advantage of any of the multi-touch features that iPads have. Maybe Android, I'm not super familiar with it, but in either case, none of the cool things you could do, like double clicking it, should obviously bring up the card, or it seems natural to me that that's what they want to do. So how do you bring up a card? Well, say we want to look at what those fin blades actually do. You click right on the little icon picture, and it takes you out of the whole screen to bring up their card, which I guess solves the problem. But it seems a little awkward going back and forth, and you got to again aim for these tiny little icons, which I guess my sausage fingers make it hard to do, but it seems like it could be difficult in a tournament situation. So it's a little unusual to do it that way, but it's not the end of the world. So next we'll go to damage. So say Borka, worst has happened, Borka's going to take some damage. So again, you have to click on the heart-ish area, and that will get you going. So we're in the heart area. Okay, we got a damage thing. So you have two ways of entering damage. You can click the individual squares. Doot, 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 doot. 5? Okay, sure. I clicked, let's see if the glare here will cut down. There's 5 X's there, believe me. Alright, so we got 5 X's. Or, alternatively, you can mess with this damage slider. Now, first off, again, say I ... 5 damage, but I don't commit, and then you do some more, it just erases it. So it doesn't give you the option to commit before you change the damage total between the two systems, so that could be some record-keeping problems. So let's assume we're doing it right. So, say I take... let's get all this back to 0. Okay, so say I take 5 damage. So I need to do 5 damage here. So it says drag up and down, but it's weird. I mean, that's not, again, why are we not tapping like, people tap on these things? I'm sliding in a little tiny box, which, again, my finger covers. So I did my 5 damage. Ow. And I can commit. Now I've taken 5 damage. That's cool. Okay, so we're still here. Okay, what if I take 5 more damage? Okay, again, you take 5 more damage, and you commit again. Okay, and then when you accept, it'll close. So that's cool. I like that. That's not a bad system. I mean, it's easy. You can stay on one model at a time. It doesn't let you get confused. But again, you can't heal. Earlier I thought you could scroll the other way and you could heal, but apparently you can't. But you can heal by clicking, again, these tiny X's until they're all gone, and that's how you heal. However, another gripe is, say I type there, and I put an X just way over there. It doesn't fill in, it doesn't do anything, and I can take those. I can just take 3 boxes in the middle of the line, which I could see could lead to lots of accidental clicks when you don't realize where the damage is, and then you could erase them, and now you've got this weird split damage and who did that win, and again, a little more rules where the guys, if you click a box, it fills in all up to that box. It doesn't seem like they did any differentiation between a Warjack, where it can matter, or a War Beast, where you take the little individual boxes after you heal, and Infantry, where it goes line to line. So, they get a B on that because it's like they got kind of the idea, but not all the way there. Let's see. So, the problem we've got... Oh, just a funny thing here for... Hopefully we don't have anything in the future that can do this, but this damage slider goes all the way up to 100. I don't know why. I hope there's nothing in the game that's going to do 100 damage. That'd be pretty impressive. But you can do 100 damage. I don't know why, just to be impressive that you could do that. So, a huge thing we noticed here. So far we're playing the game, everything looks normal, we've gotten over the damage, we know where the rules are now. The problem here is, so I'm looking at Borka's rules, where is his feat? I see his spells, I see his speed, and all that, but they don't list his feat, and there's no way, as far as I can tell, to get the feat to show up. I get all his rules, I get all the cool stuff, but I have to click here, go out of the experience, go over here, and then read the feat. Again, not the end of the world, but it's not as easy to read as the rest of the stuff, and I hear feats might be important in Warmachine, so I don't know why it's not listed here. Clearly this is a scrollable space with more, they could more or less add. I bet you if they have higher spell lists. So, the last thing we're going to talk about for the battle, the last 2 things, is here in the menu. This menu button hangs around all the time. And there's a couple things in here we want to talk about. I lied. Sorry, there's more than 2. But first is the timer. Awesome, there's a timer. I mean, it cuts down on needing chest clocks, especially if you have a phone or something else. The fact that you can have the timer is great. You can adjust the time to whatever you want, so I'll just put some random amount on there, and it starts. But that's it. That's my timer. That's tiny. I mean, my finger is bigger than this row, so I'm not really expecting to share that too well with my opponent. So I guess we're keeping track of each other. It's kind of odd. So you're like, okay, I'm the left-hand player. Let's start the clock. Okay, so it starts. Can I stop it here? No. Okay, I can't tap on it like I would a chess clock, like I feel naturally inclined. Okay, I can, but only if I hit it just right. And that will pass it to the opponent, which is awesome, like you would, but it's super hard to get it. Again, maybe I'm less adept than most people, but we did discover in a game that even if you're in a linked game, both with War Room, your clocks don't sync up. Like if I punch down at 24:37, my clock on his end does not auto start at 24:37. They don't update. It's just two independent clocks, which seems like it would be a pretty natural feature to make the two clocks sync to each other. And again, I'm not a programmer, but that does not seem like a particularly difficult thing to make an update pass between the two to what the clock should be set to. So the clock is very small, not particularly easy to use, and does not update between a joined game, which seems like exactly what it should be designed for. So amongst the things, it's small, but again, we're just going through the things that could be improved on this pretty good app. That's the best way to describe it so far. It's pretty good. Here's a great one, though, that I did not discover until the other day. You can click on menu and then view card. And I want to look, I don't believe you that, that Nightmare is BS, because, whatever. So I can go into Crix and I can look at, can find Nightmare in here, and I can view Nightmare's card. I don't own the Crix deck, but I can still look at it, which is great. That is a great concession to let players look at cards they don't own, just because, they don't want to make you buy all the cards, but you need to know what your opponent's doing, especially if they're using War Room and don't want to hand it over. So that's really nice. I greatly applaud them on that. That all the card decks are in there, you have to unlock them. So that's good. That's a really good way to do that. In here is another odd button, though. I can email the army, which is weird because, remember, I'm in the middle of a game right now. So I just took myself out of the game and into a mail app, which in tournament play could be super annoying because you lost time to it because of a misclick. I don't know how they're going to deal with that. And then, oh, no, I'm not even launching the app again. So I wish this menu button would tailor itself a little better to what you're doing. This is where you're in the game and everything else. So overall, for the iPad, it's pretty good. I mean, I like it. There's some things that I don't like, but they're all fixable. Nothing is super terrible. Nothing just makes me want to pull my hair out. But that kind of ends when we come to the phone. So again, on both these devices, they're screen locked. You can use it. You can only use it in portrait for the phone and landscape for the iPad, which I guess is okay because the iPhone does have a small screen, especially compared to some Android devices. But overall, I wouldn't use this for War Room. I mean, I could use it for maybe building armies, but overall, it's just too small. All the features I talked about are even smaller on this tiny screen. But this just drives me up a wall. Where is my army? I'm logged in on both these devices, and they don't share an army. I can make an army in one, but it doesn't go to the other. Why would I have to remake my army between the... I already logged into your server. Please let me have the army between the two. It's not a big thing. I don't have like hundreds of armies. But it's annoying to have to remake them on each device. Like, oh, I'm just going to take my phone, or maybe I forgot my iPad, or I don't know, whatever. But I shouldn't have to make the same army twice in there. It's not that much storage. But overall, this is the future. This is what I want from game companies. I want apps that make me not have to carry books. I don't want to have to carry cards and templates, well, templates maybe, but I want cards and markers and everything in between. I don't want to have to carry 50 accessories for one game. And I went to Adepticon this year, and I had to carry, like, if I did not have an iPad, I would have had to carry 8 books, 2 sets of templates, dice. It would have weighed like 20 pounds worth of books, or I could have just carried this thing, 4 pounds or 3 pounds or whatever it is. But this is what I want. And when this app gets out of beta testing, which is essentially what they're asking us to do, it'll be great. But right now, it's a B. It's a solid B to B minus. I mean, it does what it needs to do, but it doesn't do it well. But it'll suffice, and it's the future. So hopefully, over time, and I know Privateer Press will do it, they'll make this what we want. But right now, it's not there.